No. It was 19th century European linguists who put forth the theory that the Bantu languages descended from a common Proto-Bantu language, and they went on to reconstruct the likely cause of this linguistic community's expansion. It was German scholars Willem Bleek and Karl Meinhof who were the first to call attention to the specific features shared by Bantu-derived languages. For instance, by distinguishing them from the Xhosa language in South Africa. Then came American linguist Joseph Greenberg, who would then go on to develop a classification system for African languages. A system that supported this idea of a geographic expansion. While Henry Hamilton Johnston, British colonial administrator, drew up the first map outlining and dating the stages of the so-called expansion. Besides the word Bantu deriving from the actual word Abantu, which means people. In general, as I've explained before, black people actually are referred to as umuntu, a person. The term Bantu has more of a rather negative overtone, sometimes of a most unpleasant nature. Now, Willem Bleek, who actually coined the term, was an avowed racist, while Karl Meinhof, was a member of the Nazi Party. During the apartheid era, Bantu was synonymous with black. You see, where I'm from, Abantu would be referred to the north, south, east, west, not a specific Bantu people. It's not an ethnic group, nor is it a culture. The only thing is that our languages are very similar, which is not uncommon throughout the continent of Africa. Since, in general, we have very similar ways of life, ways of thought process. I mean, we're all from Africa. We're all of one woman. Some things were never going to be forgotten. And if you agree with this perception, then how are we different to the Khoisan? Because more than other Bantu languages, Xhosa and the Khoi speak very similar languages, and Zulu and Swati and Ndebele have very similar sounds to the Xhosa and the Khoisan. Wouldn't you then just group them as you have already as Nguni people? Why still separate them as Nguni but Bantu people? Let me tell you why. Because there's this myth that there was empty land in South Africa. The Khoisan and the Xhosa had already defeated the Portuguese twice before the Dutch or the English arrived in South Africa. So, the empty or vacant land theory is a theory that was propagated by European settlers in South Africa to support their claims to land. Bear in mind there is no history nor archaeological evidence to support this theory. This is why people of European descent in South Africa hold on to this theory in order to support their claims to land ownership in our country. But no, baby, our people were stationed alive and kicking. You hear me? That includes the Sotho, the Pedi, the Tsonga, the Venda. Have you got any idea how big these tribes are? Again, don't ever let them tell you you're not indigenous to SA.